Q&A. So I did post on Instagram earlier this week about this podcast or the show. And so some amazing questions, one of which I haven't told you about because I want to catch you off guard. Did your spouse ever have doubts about you running your own business?
I think I just answered that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You should say never. No. 100% knew she'd be a success.
I knew that you had the talent for it, but I didn't know that, your vision behind everything. It's hard to get inside your mind and be like all right, this is what's going to happen. I know this is what's going to happen. And it's just like, okay. Like I blindly trust and be like, I know that whatever you're doing is not going to be to the detriment of our family. Because I know that where you're coming from and what you want to do for us. So I was like, okay, I'm not sure if it's going to work, but you got to go try it out.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge distinction is that like you trusted me enough to know that I wouldn't put us in harm's way or that I would figure out a way to make sure that we weren't losing our home or that we wouldn't have food on our table. There was, and I feel the same way about you. Like there's nothing that we wouldn't do to keep our family afloat. It's a little bit riskier to have a business because it really is dependent on you. And especially as women, like when you have emotions, you don't feel like working. You kind of can't really do that with your own business if you want money coming in. So thanks for trusting me, honey.
Yeah.
I think it worked out in your favor.
I think so.
Who cooks?
I'm going to say mainly you.
Mainly?
Yeah. I'm take care of breakfast.
He's really good with hot dogs and white bread.
Yeah. Hot dogs and white bread.
No, you're actually really good cook. I'm more of a direction follower. I love recipes and you're more of a Emerald Lagasse bam kind of just make it up.
I like to go out on the grill.
Yes.
And I like to cook on the cast iron and the stovetop and then toss it in the oven, especially for steaks.
Sounds good. We should do that. But I do. So over the past year, my mom has been doing a lot of the cooking and grocery shopping. And that's part of the benefit of having lived with my parents is they handled a lot of the day-to-day stuff. So I really enjoy cooking when I have the time to do it and I have the ingredients for it. So my new favorite thing is the Instant Pot. Thank you to my mother-in-law who got it for us. I can have like a really yummy meal made in like 30 minutes. So if you don't have an Instant Pot, definitely the way to go as a busy mompreneur.
It's like a crock pot and pressure cooker combo.
So. And a rice cooker and a yogurt maker and all this weird stuff. But it's been a lifesaver this week because this has been my first week back in like not housewife, but wife mode of like having to take care of that stuff. But for the most part, the household stuff is still under my realm, just because I have more experience with it. But that is something that we are working on, Chris being a partner in that, because we've also come to the conclusion that we're not the traditional marriage that we grew up knowing. Like both of our parents were very man works, the woman handles the household stuff. My mom worked part-time, your mom works full-time, but it was very much the man is the breadwinner and the woman was the household caretaker. And we tried that for a really long time until PTSD kind of came into play and then everything went on my plate. But I love what I do and I love that my income is kind of unlimited. It's kind of what I want it to be. And so I don't look to you necessarily to be the breadwinner. And so even just you for a long time, you thought your worth to the family was money.
Yeah. And
so kind of redefining that for us. So what would you say is kind of like our goal dynamic in that sense of like household, man, wife kind of a thing?
I mean, it really depends on, if I end up getting a job right after school and what that's going to entail. If I'm having to search for a job, like I plan on, taking up a lot of those kind of responsibilities and you're providing financially and I'll provide to the household that way.
Yeah.
If I do end up getting a job immediately after school, which I'm hoping.
Anybody listening, looking for a graphic designer or photographer?
Then I still plan on taking some of those responsibilities, but just, how much am I going to be picking up the kids or dropping off the kids? Definitely need to pick up more on the laundry and the dishes. So, but
we broke up over dishes.
We did break over dishes.
The
first dating. 6 months.
Yeah. He was like, I'd have an easier time doing dishes if you weren't here. And I was like, okay, bye. So it's always been a funny sore spot between us. But now it's like, I'd much rather do dishes than deal with the kids after dinner.
Yeah.
So I think what's been a huge benefit for me, I think I'm realizing a lot of the benefits of having my own business now, and I've been doing this for many, many years, is that even we had the conversation, he was like, okay, like I need to start making money. I'm going to get a job. And I'm like, but that means you're going to be in school during the day and then working at night. We're never going to see you. That's not the lifestyle that we want. And I said, for you to make up, because he's going to be losing some of his BH. I said, for you to make up the money that we're losing in BH, it's going to take a lot of your time. Whereas me, it wouldn't necessarily take as much time. So let's just have you pick up on some of the household stuff so that I can focus and make up that difference. And so that to me has been a huge benefit, as well as like, we're at the point now where his income is not going to make or break us, that I want him to have a job that he's passionate about, because I've seen how much that makes work exciting. I've had jobs I've hated. He's had jobs he's hated. And so I'm much more, I love that I can support us financially to be able to get him doing something he loves to do every day of his life.
Watching you build out the Lashpreneur,
I made it look easy and amazing.
Is addicting.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at everything that you built out. And like, I want to build something like that as well. You know, so I was talking about going out and having my own production crew. It was just going to be me and one computer making all the photo edits and doing everything.
You want to be a content creator.
Yeah. And doing all that. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. But you know, I see behind the scenes and I see how hard Tara works and how all the struggles that she's been through building out, you know, finding the right people to work with her and surrounding herself with the right mentors to push her forward.
How many times I've fallen to and been screwed over?
Well,
I'm like, what? Watching me, you want to do this? Like, what? Are you out of your mind? Like,
well, I've seen the ups and downs to you building this out, and I see how happy you are doing it, and I think that's the addicting part for me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have that same feeling in the job that I do and not feel like I'm just going in to punch a clock somewhere.
Yeah, but it's also, just to clarify, it's because this is like the past 14 years that I've been out of college. This is every job experience has been leading me to this. So it's that I'm in alignment with what my purpose is and what my passion is. And so for you, maybe that's not entrepreneurship for everybody, but for me, it happens to be. And I think for you, I think your business would look very different than mine, because I feel like you don't want to have necessarily the reach. You want to dive deep on like clients rather than having this wider scale thing. Let's see. Okay, here we go. How do you find time for sex with kids and running a business? Serious question. Thank you, Jacqueline, who's not a lash artist, but a friend. How do we find time, honey?
It's few and far between.
With
us living apart, I mean, that was probably the hardest thing.
For you.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have that physical connection with your spouse, and you know, it's just phone calls and texts and like a 1 hour dinner each night for a year.
And there had been, for me as a woman, there had been a lot of emotional trauma over the last year that even if we were in the same house, it probably would have been of the same frequency. Just because we're building back to that intimacy. Like, we're in a really good spot right now because we've been doing the work and we're going to continue to do the work, but it's a whole new realm for us to be on a house by ourselves now. So
I mean, you were with your parents for a whole year. I was there for just a couple months.
And you got to see how stressful that was for me. My triggers come from my parents, but Jacqueline, in all honesty, it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think we've realized is, by no means do we have relationships and marriage figured out, but when we do make the intention of connecting, like even today, if we were waiting to pick up furniture and we had like 10 minutes to talk, I think that's the first conversation I've had with him in like 3 days, because we've been roommates and just strangers passing in the night. Like, we're both sleeping in different kids' rooms because they wake up in the middle of the night and we're just so tired. We just end up falling asleep in there. Our new bed hasn't even gotten here, so we're not even in the same room at night. So it's not, it has to be an intentional thing.
Everyone's sleeping at some point during the night.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely have to be intentional about it. The last time before, I think we had to take a vacation to actually separate ourselves from everyone else.
And not feel like somebody's going to call my name in the middle of the night. Like my son screams my name and it's like, Mom! And like, so
we had to leave the city.
Yeah, we did. So yeah, it's really being intentional and purposeful about even just connecting, and it's not even necessarily physically, but like I think most men have to connect physically before they connect emotionally, and women it's vice versa, which is a really sick way of doing things. But yeah, just being intentional about that with your partner, having open conversations. I think we've talked more about intimacy and connection this year than we ever have, and we've been together 11 years and married for 8, so that's probably a conversation you should have more if you're married.
Yeah.
Have you ever not supported me or not believed in my business?
No.
Yeah. Because I've made some pretty bold statements about what I was willing to do for our family when I felt like the business wasn't serving the ultimate purpose. I was going to apply for jobs I knew I could get, and even moving us out of state to get those jobs. I said I'd be willing to do that because I was trying to save our family. And that was a little over a year ago. So I think that built trust that he knew I was doing everything in my power to be able to save our family. Are your parents far away now? If so, what are you going to do for childcare?
Your parents? They're about 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So my mom's actually watching my daughter right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. So our son is going into TK, which is kind of like right before. He's too old for preschool, but not old enough for kindergarten. So he's going 5 days a week. And then we decided to put our daughter
3 days a week.
3 days a week in the same school.
And then Grammy comes up on the other 2 days to watch her.
Yeah. And that was more because my mom she likes kids. She was a teacher for a long time. And so we would have hired a babysitter, but luckily my mom just loves being around the kids. I have a niece and a nephew, and we have my son. So she's always had the kids for the last, both 6. So the fact that she only has one kid now, 2 days a week, it's like, what's Grammy gonna do?
Yeah, it's killing her.
Yeah, it's hard for her. But yeah, so we have also talked about possibly doing nanny or a babysitter, because we want to have date nights too, where we're not relying on my parents. I want my parents to enjoy retirement because they're both going to be retired by the end of the year. And it was really hard for me over the past couple of years, both from having a miscarriage and not wanting anybody to watch our son when he was a baby, to now being like, whoever wants my kids, please watch them. I'm going to go to a winery. I know. How do you have your significant other support your journey without them giving up on their own?
Everyone's got to make a little sacrifices.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think you can't be so tied to the how, but just the results. So if you guys are both on the same page of what you're working towards, I mean, do you feel like you've had to sacrifice what you want to do for me to grow my business?
For so long, like I used to just be like, this is what I want to do. And I plant my flag and like, all right, this is the thing that I'm going to work towards. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. And I feel like a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And they are just blindly trying to find their way to this end goal. And I'm starting to look more into the journey of it and kind of wherever it leads me. And when I find that thing that I really like, which is photo editing, I'm like, all right, where can I find a job doing this? And I actually found a place semi locally that is going to allow me to do that. So
yeah, I don't think it's a either or. I feel like there's seasons because entrepreneurship for me is never really done unless you sell your business and take the money and run. But it is a journey. It's not a destination. If I kept saying, I mean, I feel like there's times when I've kind of brought to your attention what it would mean for you to go all in on running a business right now while I'm building this. And I kept saying, I know it's going to get to a place where it's stable, and then you can do it where it's less risky for our family, because we do have kids. Like, it's not like we can just downsize into a 1-bedroom apartment and eat ramen. Like, we've got kids to consider in that. And so it really is, it's not his dream versus my dream. It's our dream together. And if one of us dream seems more important, or that somebody's time is more important, it has to be an open conversation about that, because that can get really dangerous when you're like, because I know I've said that, like, my time is worth more, because financially I can make more money with my time investing into work than he could currently.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that his dream isn't as important. It's just navigating what is our ultimate goal. And for us, it's a lifestyle. It was building out a house, having stability. And so luckily we've been able to navigate that pretty well.
And when you hear that, like for me initially, what I thought was like, well, yeah, you can make more money at this point in time, but how am I supposed to get to your level if you're not allowing my time to build out my business? So I felt that conflict initially, but it's like, there will come that time.
Yeah.
Like I'm still learning the process and the small baby steps where you're taking more of those larger steps in your business right now. And taking that little bit of extra time in those baby steps, I think really does help out and just kind of pay more attention.
I think the conflict comes from the sense of urgency that one or both people may feel about them not, like the time, it'll never happen again if I don't get this opportunity kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so just understanding why there's urgency, and is it really urgency or is it urgency you've made up in your head?
Fear.
Good dude. All right, let's wrap this up because we're getting long-winded. Does your business impact your marriage in a negative way, and did it contribute to your separation?
Did not contribute to the separation. And impact the marriage
in a negative way?
I don't think so, but that was during the time of PTSD. So I still have some stuff that I'm working through. I'm like, where were these feelings actually coming from? Was it towards Tara, or was it something else that was happening at the time? So like, I want to say no, that it wasn't a negative, that it was more the
I think the financial stress, and granted, we weren't really looking at our money all that in depth. We could have been a lot better about that. But I think for sure we wouldn't have had the financial strain had I had a consistent job, because I could have made decent money. I mean, I think I'm kind of smart. But yeah, there was a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of strain financially that probably added to our stress level. But PTSD really was the main culprit, because I felt like we couldn't be a partnership with PTSD always kind of cutting us off before we got anywhere. Do you know the difference between good application and bad application?
I mean, I can tell a hack job.
He knows a lot about lashes.
Yeah. I was working at a call center, and there was a girl actually applying lashes inside the call center to another girl.
Oh, Jesus.
And they were all clumped up, and it was bad.
Yeah.
I was like, ew, that doesn't look sanitary.
Yeah, no.
Like, my wife does that.
Yeah. So. No, she doesn't do that, but
she does a much better job than that.
And what did the one chick say when you were trying to tell her my prices?
She goes, I don't know how much you were charging at the time. But she was like, why would anyone pay that much? I can go to Walmart and get some glue. I was like, okay.
And then there's 2 more questions we'll go through. How do you show your support? Stay out of my way. Kidding.
I try and give you your time during the day when we're here at the house together to actually do the work that you need to do. And if there's anything to do with the kids or things around the house, I try and take up that right now to allow you to have this time to continue working.
Yeah, and especially because I went to Australia for 10 days and you were living with my parents.
Man.
To me,
10 days alone with both my kids and my in-laws. It was.
He loves me.
It was a 10 days worth of pushing the trigger button, but I was able to get away each day and worked with my mother-in-law quite a bit to where I was able to still have the time that I needed and was able to manage pretty well. And actually got the kids to sleep each night by themselves.
Hallelujah.
We're working to get back to that now.
Yeah, the ways that you show your support is by not giving me all the reasons why I can't do something, because my brain does that enough of like, you shouldn't be, or you can't do this. But also, just creating space for me, not making me feel guilty if I need to go work and not be with family. He also kind of supports me by reeling me back in when I get too caught up in stuff, because it happens a lot. Or, I feel like I need to keep driving the business harder. And it kind of, even just conversations I have with him, it will remind me of why I got into running a business, which is not always making a lot of money and impacting a lot of lives. Sometimes it's also so that I can have more time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And then last one, how can you do it all? Mom, wife, boss, lady, and me time. I don't. I don't do it all. Maybe I do. I don't know. So each one of those, again, I look at seasons. Right now I've taken 2 weeks very slow in work. This is slow for me. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Slow in work so that I can focus on getting our household set up and getting the kids in routine and cooking dinners. And then we're going to be heading into the launch of the Lashpreneur Society towards the end of September. So I know I'm going to be super busy with work and just kind of getting everything in alignment there. So next month is going to be a little heavier on work. So it really is just finding pockets of time and letting go of the expectation of what that's supposed to look like. And maybe it's just Chris and I right now that we have an uninterrupted conversation over cookies and milk once a week. And that's what we're going to do to keep our connection going. Hopefully in the future, it'll be a little more, going out of the house.
Like that.
Yeah, I need to.
Memories are all around us.
I know, they're so close. In fact, I'm running late to go meet my assistant at one right now. So yeah, I think for me, it's just giving myself a little bit of grace and where does my focus need to be in that moment and being present when I am somewhere. So if, if the kids are at home, I want to be present with the kids and not be on my phone. If I'm having a conversation with Chris, I'm putting my phone down so that I'm not, trying to work or answer questions. If I'm answering questions, looking at my phone, that he asks for my attention before he starts just running off on things because I'm distracted or I'm in the middle of responding to someone and I'm like, hold on, let me finish this. So yeah, it's a work in progress. But
you got to make sure that they're listening before you start talking, or else you're going to have the conversation all by yourself.
Pretty much. And he does it to me too when he's engaged in his computer. All right. So Chris, what is your advice for anyone supporting a Lashpreneur who's chasing their dreams?
Oh, to the Lashpreneurs?
Yeah, like the business owners, the lash artists who are building their empires.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be hard. There's going to be times that you want to quit. And in those moments, I think that's when you found your next thing that's going to bring your business to that next level. So just because it's getting hard doesn't mean that you're getting further away from your goal. You're probably getting really close to it. So you just got to keep moving forward into that. And then hopefully it works out.
I love that. My advice to the partners of the Lashpreneurs out there is they don't need reasons why they can't do something. They've got enough of that going on in their own head, and they've got probably enough people in the world who thinks they can't do it. Your role, for the most part, is support and allowing them to fall and learn the lesson they need to learn, because there's a reason why they have to struggle, because that's how you grow. That's how you get better. That's how you become a successful entrepreneur. Being successful doesn't come from not failing and from not, struggling. It's by not quitting. So if you can support them to continue pursuing their goals and not quit, and get over your fears and insecurities and do the work that you need to do in order to be able to support them in that, that is the best support that you can give your budding Lashpreneur. Well, thank you for coming on. This was a lot longer than I anticipated, but I think it was good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Love you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.